guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be explaining how to make this dress. So the one on the video, there are two ways you can make this dress, right? I've gone through the video several times just to see how like the dress looks, and from what I could tell, the fabric was made the dress was made from a stretchy fabric, and it doesn't have any zip at the back, it doesn't have zip at the side, it doesn't have zip anywhere. So the dress was made with a stretchy cloth, right? So there are two ways to make this. Is either you're using a stretchy fabric or you're not using a stretchy fabric, like you're using a stiff fabric. So I'm going to explain how you're going to make it if you're using either the stretchy one or if you're going to be using the stiff one. Guys, the dress is very easy to make. It's just basically a kimono upper part with ruching added to the sleeve, and then with a circle bottom, right? So we're going to start with the stretchy one, which is the one that we have on the video, right? How you're going to make it, since it doesn't have zip anyway. So this is going to be how I would make it for myself. So basically, first thing I'm going to do is to get my fabric. I'm making this for somebody. It's like this is like a kimono part that I already cut out, but I'm going to use it to explain. So basically, I have both the front and the back panel folded together here. So you're going to get your fabric. So let me try to use paper too. You're going to get your fabric, fold it into two, like this, right? You're going to fold the front panel into two, fold the back panel into two, just like that. So you have two fabrics that are folded equally. You see, why I open it up is to show you that there's no zipper allowance here. So there's no zipper allowance at the center back, just like this one here. It doesn't have any zipper allowance, and these two fabrics folded. And how you're going to determine the width here is going to be your shoulder measurement divided by 2. So first thing you're going to insert here is your shoulder divided by 2 plus your sleeve length, where you want the sleeve to be. So guys, first thing you're going to have as the width of this cloth is your shoulder measurement divided by 2. So let's say my shoulder is 16, divided by 2 is 8. So that is the first measurement I have here, which is on this line here. After that, you're going to insert the sleeve length you're working with. So let's say your sleeve is going to be 10 inches long. After that, the next thing you're going to insert is extra 6 inches. This 6 inches is for making room for the ruching and also to fold the end of the sleeve. So 5 inches is going to be the ruching. 1 inch of that 6 is going to be your end of the sleeve to fold the end, like how you normally fold the end of your clothes. So let me say it again. First thing you have here as the width of your clothes on a fold, because this is on a fold, right? This is the folded part. So you're going to start from the center part. You're going to make sure you have your shoulder divided by 2, which is 8. After that, you put your tape at that point of 8, insert the length you want for your sleeve. And then after that, you're going to add what you want the extra for the ruching to be. 5 inches plus extra 1 inch of folding the end, right? You can also do 4 inches for this ruching. And if you feel like 5 is a lot, do 4 and then add 1 inch to it so that you can use that 1 inch to fold the opening of your sleeve. So once you have that out of the way, the next thing you're going to do is your shoulder to your waist divided by, your shoulder to your waist plus 1 inch. So let's say your shoulder to waist is at 16, add 1 inch to it, half an inch to join the upper part, half an inch to join the lower part. So now once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is mark from this point. Normally it would have been something like this, right? You just insert your normal neckline, 3 inches of neckline, mark it here. Come down to this point here, mark 1 inch of shoulder slope, connect it to this point of this 3 inches all the way to that point, like this. Your shoulder slope, connect it just like this to that point of 3 inches. So once that is done, the next thing you're going to do is from this point now, you're going to come down here and mark your armhole divided by 2, wherever that fits in. From this point, your armhole divided by 2. So let's say that is at 9, or at 9, come down 1 inch from there, right? Because this is going to be a kimono, you don't want it too tight. So come down 1 inch from that point. How you're going to get this line is just your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, right? So round your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, whatever it is on this line from this point here, mark it. Let's say it's 8, add 1 inch to it is 9. So use that point as your chest line. On that line, you're going to just come down there and then insert your bust divided by 4. So let's say your bust divided by 4 is 10. You go ahead and mark it, right? So now that you've marked it, you're going to rule a straight line across, like this, straight. So this is now your armhole width here. So the next thing you're going to do is on this same line, go ahead and add your seam allowance 1 inch. Remember, we're still saying if you're doing this for a non-stretchy fabric, add 1 inch of seam allowance here, and then come down to your waist. Do your waist divided by 4. If you look at her own by the waist, you see that it's a little bit loose there. It's not like fitted. So what you can do is just do your waist divided by 4, mark it. So let's say your waist divided by 4 is 8, and then maybe add, like, maybe you can add half an inch of ease and then 1 inch of seam allowance, because since it doesn't have a zipper and nothing, you're wearing it from the head down. You see, I think she wore it from the head down, so you need to make room here. Although the fabric is stretchy, yes, but you still need to make sure that it can pass through your bust to go down, because it's going to be worn from up down. So once that is done, so you've added, like, let's say half an inch or 0.75 of ease, 1 inch of seam allowance, connect it to the bust, to this bust line now, and then give it a curve here. Just come out here by half an inch from this corner, give it a curve here, like half an inch from this corner, this distance here, half an inch from this corner, or just go ahead and make a curve with your hand on this line all the way to this point, and that's basically it. So all you have to cut is now cut from this point down, cut from your shoulder slope up, and cut it away. You see, that's how you're going to do it if you're working with a stretchy fabric. So guys, that's basically everything you need for this here. So all I have to do, you see this here, like I said, is also a kimono that I'm cutting for somebody, but it's a bigger person and it's totally different style, but I wanted to use it to explain this. So all I have to do, you see this one, this is the points where I started cutting it out. For you now, where you're going to start to cut out is from this point here all the way out. So you're going to cut out something that looks like this out here, like this out. Cut out your shoulder slope, and then for the neckline, you're not going to do just 3 inches because it's a boat neckline. So you can do like 4.5 or 5 inches of neck width, and then do maybe 2.5 of neck depth. So like instead of 3 inches now, you're going to extend it to up to 4 to 5 inches, right? 4.5 or so. That's going to be the width of your neck from this point to this 5 inches width, and then you're going to bring it down like 2.5 instead of 3 inches for both the front and the back. 2.5 is okay. You're going to use it for both the front and the back. So you're not doing, because the neckline is quite high. So if you want, you can just do 3 inches for your front neckline, 2 inches for the back neckline, right? But if you look at her own, you see that it's just wide and straight across, right? So once that is done, or once you've done this 3 inches of neckline, you can just extend it more by 2 inches and just chip that out too. So it's not confusing, like to calculate it 5 inches in total. So once that is done, that's basically it. The difference with this now is that how you're going to cut the bottom part of the skirt. Guys, we already know how to cut a circle skirt. You know how we normally cut the skirt. Once you cut it for her own, since it doesn't have a zipper at the back, what was done is that you know how you cut your circle skirt. So guys, this is, let's say this is the fabric you're using to cut your skirt. Again, there's no seam on the skirt except for that place that has the slit. So let's say I'm cutting my skirt now. All I have to do is round the waist that I used before. But you round my waist measurement, but I have to put into consideration whatever ease that I added before. Like this one here, when I did plus half an inch of ease. So that half an inch of ease, I have to also put it into consideration, because it's going to give me extra 2 inches of seam allowance, because half an inch on 4 layers, on 4 sides. So half an inch on this first one, half an inch on the second one is 1 inch, half an inch on this one, half an inch on this one is another 1 inch. So that's 2 inches extra. So what I'm going to do is just round my waist measurement plus 2 inches extra is what I'm going to use to cut my skirt. So guys, this is me trying to illustrate cutting the skirt, right? So let's say this is the fabric here. Fold it into 2. Your big fabric, fold it into 2. Go up to this corner, divide your waist measurement, round your waist plus 2 inches, divide it by divide it by 3.14. This is a constant to cut half a circle. So once you put it in here, let's say what you got was 6 inches. You're going to mark 6 inches, put your tape here, mark 6 inches all the way around, right? Just like that. From this point to 6 inches all the way, make it round like this. And after that, you're going to insert your skirt length. So let's say after that, my skirt length is going to go this way. So you're going to just add that into this. And that's basically my skirt, right? So let's say my skirt now, after this point here, whatever it is, you're going to insert it. So from the waist part here, insert whatever your skirt length, maybe 20, 30, whatever it is, insert it there, and then take back your tape up, add up everything, and then mark the same measurements all the way around. We already have videos on how to cut the skirt. This is just me trying to explain it. But once you cut the skirt now, you see it has one seam. And like I said, this video, you can go and pause it and watch it over. It doesn't have any seam anywhere. It doesn't have like any straight seam, like how you have one straight seam at the center back going up. It doesn't have it. So what they did for this is, so guys, you have to cut this part, cut this part. Also, to your skirt line, don't forget to add 1.5, 1 inch of folding the end, half an inch of joining the waist. So guys, what you're going to do now is this part here. If you're working with the stretchy part, what you're going to do is this part of this, the only part of this skirt that has a seam, this opening here, is going to be the one that will form your slit, right? If you look at it, you see that her slit, it's basically like a seam, open seam that was just sewn closed. Like it was sewn closed, maybe like, let's say 15 inches down, and then the rest was left open. That's how her slit was made. Look at the video again, you will see it. It has like, it was closed up like 15 inches from the waist down, and then it was left open, like let's say the rest of the skirt down. It depends on you how far you want to close it, and then you can leave the rest open. You can close up to 13, 14, 15, 20, depending on the length of the full skirt. So basically, once you finish cutting your skirt, that only slit that is on it, that normally would have gone to the back to form your zipper allowance, joined to the upper part of your dress and everything, that center seam, you're going to turn it around and bring it towards the front, and then it's going to form a slit on this side of your skirt, maybe the right, maybe the left. So you're going to basically, once you close it up, you're going to turn each side of it, so it's using 1 inch to form your to form the ending of the slit. For if you're making it, I'm still going to talk about the ruche. The ruche is the same for both the stretchy and non-stretchy, but we've gotten the basic of if you're making it with this stretchy fabric, like if you're making it with a stretchy fabric. So now let's move over to if you're making it with a non-stretchy fabric. It's still the same thing. The only difference now is that you're going to have a zipper allowance. You see how this is folded into two, the first one. The second one has a zipper allowance here of 1 inch. So how you're going to do it is still the same method. Come down 1 inch of shoulder slope, connect it to the neckline. Come down here, insert your armhole divided by 2, whatever it is, come down 1 inch from that, right? This 1 inch I'm coming down from is just to widen up the opening of my sleeve, you understand? It's just to make this sleeve part a little bit open. So come down a little bit from there, and then mark a straight line on from that point. Once that is done, insert your bust measurement divided by 4, and then 1 inch of seam allowance, because this is a stretch, this strong fabric that doesn't have any stretch. I know, because the fabric has some stretch to it, you might be thinking, wouldn't you deduct some, like reduce the measurements of your bust? I don't think that's necessary, because you're still going to be wearing this from your head down, and you don't want it too tight. But if you want, it depends on how stretchy your fabric is. I'm just going back to explain the stretchy one again. If you feel like your fabric is quite stretchy, that to pass through your bust and everything, then you can reduce your measurement. Like let's say your bust is 42, you can decide to work with maybe 41 divided by 4, just so that it will be a little bit snug on your body. But with that said, coming down to the waist of the one that doesn't have any stretch, what you're going to do is just divide your waist by 4, add a dot. This is where the difference comes in for both the stretchy and non-stretchy. This non-stretchy one will have a zipper allowance here, a 1 inch of zipper allowance all the way here at the back, the center back like this. And then it's going to have, instead of 1 inch of, half an inch of ease here, it's going to have 1 inch of seam allowance and 1 inch of darting, you understand? So you're going to add 1 inch for your darting, which is going to be your nipple to nipple divided by 2 on this line here. Bring it up like this, and then you have an inch on this side, have an inch on this side. This is going to be your dart. Your dart will stop 1 inch before your nipple line. So from your shoulder to your nipple, 1 inch before that, that's where your dart will stop. And then 1 inch of seam allowance, connect it to the bust, curve it this way and cut it out. That's basically join everything together, join the shoulders together, shoulder to shoulder on both sides, how we normally join everything, sew it close from the top. The same thing is the neckline, how I explained it, 5 inches of neck width. If you feel like it's not both neck enough for you, you can widen it, you can make it smaller, it depends on you. And then for the skirt part, the same method we used to cut the skirt is how you're going to cut your skirt, except this time around you're going to add extra like 2 inches to your measurement, your waist measurement. You might not even add it, because remember the last one we also did that 2 inches here, but this time around instead of that 2 inches for here is going to go to your zipper. You understand? And then another seam allowance that will come from it is going to be for you to go ahead and slit it open. So you're going to make a slit going from here, apart from this one that is going to go to the back here to form my zipper allowance here from the rest of the clothes, right? I'm going to give it a different slit in front, maybe towards the right or towards the left, because this is the center front, this is the center back. I'm going to give it one slit here or here. That slit now is going to be the one that will form my slit. You understand? That opening, that cut that I'm going to give it here would be to form a slit here. And once that is done, I'm going to fold the end of the cloth. So guys, for the ruching at the top here, I know you might be wondering, how are you going to achieve that? All you have to do is, once you join your shoulder together, this is what we're going to do. So let's say I've gone ahead and joined this shoulder after I cut out my 1 inch of shoulder slope, and then this is it here. What you're going to do is, once the shoulder is joined together, this is the top part of your shoulder here. What you're going to do is to take your fabric. First thing is that you're going to fold the end of the sleeve, right? The end of that sleeve here, fold it first. Once you fold it, it will look something like this. You folded the end of your cloth, right? Like how you normally fold the end of your cloth. Then you're going to take, if you look at a thing, you see that the ruching came from where the boat neckline started from. You understand? Where the boat neckline is where it started from. So what you're going to do is, you're going to take your fabric. Let me find a smaller piece. But I'm trying to explain to you that what you would need is like something this small, you see? So like this is okay. So you take it, place it on top of the shoulder, fold in 1/2 inch on this other side, and then fold in 1/2 inch on this other side, like this, and give this a center seam. You see? But before you even join it, you're going to also measure this one here. Measure this one here, because you have to cut it off at some point here. And also fold the end. You fold the end of your clothes separately. You're going to also fold the end of what you're going to use to make your casing separately. Because if I fold this into this now, where will my rope go in from? You understand? Because this is the end of my sleeve. So what I'm going to do is, before I even do anything, I'm going to take the piece that I'm going to use for my shoulder ruching. I'm going to fold it separately on itself, just to make a clean finish at the edge like this, right? Just to make a clean finish at the edge like this. And then I'm going to go ahead now and take the thing that I'm using for my ruching, fold 1/2 inch on this side of it, sew it down like this on my sewing machine. Take the other side of it here, sew it down on my sewing machine like this, and then make a center seam on. The first seam is to fold the end. The second seam is to fold this side of it. The third seam is to fold this side of it. And then the last seam is to make a demarcation between the two, because you're going to have two strings coming out from the end of this here. So once that is done, let's say this is my first string here, I'm going to pass it through this here, then all the way to the top here. Pass the second one from this other side all the way to the top here, and then anchor it at this upper part. And then you use like bias to run through my neckline. Do the same thing on the other side. You have to do the ruching first before you use bias to turn over the neckline. Once that is done, that's when you now close up your seam like this. Close it up towards the side like this. Close up your side seam like this before you join it to your skirt part. So this ruching part should be done immediately after joining your shoulders together. You go ahead, open it up wide like this. Take your 2 inches fabric. In short, fold the end here first. Fold the end of your 2 inches fabric second, and then take it, place it on your shoulder like that. Fold the edge of this side. Fold the edge of this side. Sew it down straight. Center seam. Pass the first string. Pass the second string on the other opening, and then use bias to run it round. Guys, you see, I'm trying to make it in a smaller version to explain to you guys. You see, this is the front, this is the back, this is like I folded the end of the sleeve here, folded the end of the sleeve here. But I thought of something. Guys, if you feel like the 5 inches of neckline we did will not be enough for you, you can just open it up more, maybe do 5.5 until you, because I went back to watch the video and I saw that her own started at the very tip of her shoulder. So I feel like 5 inches of boat neck might not be wide enough to contain your shoulder. So it depends on what your shoulder measurement is. So, but you have to look and see what you're working with. Then you can widen your neck. Maybe instead of doing 5 inches of neck width, you can go ahead and do 5.5 and reduce it more and do 6 inches. It depends on you. And then another thing I want to say is that for the sleeve, this was what I was explaining before. You see, this is what I want to use to make the casing, the 2 inches of width, and then I went ahead and sewed the end here, like how I sewed the end here. There are 2 ways you can do this, guys. If you want, you can sew this here. I've made several videos on how to attach create a ruching. You can make it on top of this here, but if you feel like it might not be neat, like how you would want your work to look, guys, you can also turn it on the inside and create the ruching there. It doesn't matter, because now I'm trying to see if I create this ruching on top now, it might affect my neckline, you see, because of how it might have to cover some parts of the neckline, or might be difficult to do. Maybe facing, it depends on you. If you want, you can use a facing, or if you want, you can use like a bias to turn over your neckline. But I feel like going from the inside will be better. That way, even anyhow it is, it will not show. You understand? So let's say this is what I want to use now. I've already folded the end of this. I've folded the end of this. This is the wrong side of my cloth. All I have to do is just put it down here at the center seam here, and then I'm going to sew, folding the half of this side here, folding the half of this other side here, and then make a stitch on top of it here, make a stitch on top of it here, you see, and then make a center seam on this part here. And then what all I have to do is, like, I might stop before 1 inch, I might stop like half an inch before my neckline, half an inch before where my neckline is on the inside, and then anchor it. So like I'll make sure that this thing that I'm joining here, it starts at the very end of where the sleeve is. That's how it's going to start. The both of them will face each other. But coming to this neck part here that will join to where my the neckline is, I'm going to stop it, like cut it off half an inch before it gets to where my neckline is, just so it will not be bulky. It's the bulkiness that I'm trying to avoid. So you can go from the inside like this, and then just make a center seam on it, and then when the casing, this loop comes out here, just sew it down. You see, you're going to just make a stitch on the top of it like this to hold it down. The second one will be coming from this other side. You make a stitch on it again to sew it down like this. So now the 2 of them, they form this thing, and it's already anchored to this point here. So nothing will happen, like nothing will make it come out again. And then you can go ahead and use facing to turn over your neckline, or you can even go ahead and use bias to turn it over. So guys, I really hope I explained everything here. This top is very easy. Like I said, once you know how to cut your kimono upper parts, it depends on you whether it has a zipper or it doesn't have a zipper, or if it's going to if it has a zipper, that means it's going to have a dart. If it doesn't have a zipper, that means it's just going to be a stretchy fabric and you're wearing it from up down. And then once it's done, all you have to do is close it up from the side, and then make a very tiny loop like this, a very tiny loop, maybe like 3 inches loop like this, like 3 inches loop like this. And then you've joined the skirt to it. Let's say I've joined my skirt to it now. All I have to do, I've joined the skirt to it like this. All I have to do is just to go ahead and take something that looks like this, join it from this side of the skirt to connect to the body of the top, just like this. Go to the other side again, do the same thing, just like how you make a pants loop, right? Just stitch it down here, stitch it down to the top on both sides, and then you just make a belt, like a belt that will have like something that looks like this, but like 5 inches of width. Turn it over. A belt, very long belt, and it will pass through it. You can tie it at the back, you can tie it at the front. That's how her own is. So that's the band that you're seeing on her waist, and that's it. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye. If you have any question, guys, just drop it in the comment section, and I'll try my best to explain it. You know, I can't make video on I can't make the style on a fabric for everything, but I'll try to cover each one I upload. If I see that people really want to make that style on their own, I'll just try my best to explain it in such a way that you can make it on your own, even without a video, like making it on a big fabric, because I can't wear everything. So that's basically, thank you guys so much, and bye.